Hello there. How are you today?
I am good. How are you?
Doing good. It's not raining.
Yay! And I
Yeah,
assume you have your power back.
we do for the moment. We are under a thunderstorm warnings, watches, whichever one it is. I'm not even keeping track anymore. So, yeah. Mother Nature is pissed off at Texas right now. That's the only conclusion I can come up with.
It feels like Mother Nature's pissed off at a lot of places right now.
Well,
There's a
that's true.
lot
But,
going on.
when you don't have power, you don't know what's going on around except for, right here in your location. So,
It's true.
yeah.
Yeah.
So I ran across an email that got me thinking this week, and I want to ask you, think back when you were in debt.
hmm
Were you tired of hearing/feeling you were doing it wrong?
Yes.
And did
All
you
this.
feel that way? Like,
Yeah, probably.
yeah, thinking that everybody else in the world but me has this figured out. And
hmm
I just can't I just can't get it right.
Yeah. Yeah. It especially because there's a lot of debt shaming going on the internet and all sorts of other stuff. So it just can feel really hard
Mhm.
to be able to like navigate through that and realize like it's not preferable by any means, but everyone has a reason for being in debt. And so yeah, it doesn't feel great to be like, you're not doing it right and have that happening.
Yeah. Yeah, because I was like, I went to school for accounting. I should know better. I know how to budget. I know how to do these things. Yet I still found myself in debt three different times. I mean, I
Yeah.
could successfully get in and out of debt like if I only got paid for it, because I was very successful at both. Um,
Yes.
So, it really breaks my heart. I mean, truly breaks my heart. And I'm sure you're going to feel the same way I do. But the gurus out there that people are following
hmm
that are sending the message that you're just doing it wrong. You need to do it this way instead of the way you're doing it.
Right.
Do you feel when you come across, because I mean, it's all over our feeds, and when you see those, it's kind of like, wait, what?
Yeah, like there are so many, and this is something that I try to educate as much as I can because there are so many unqualified personal finance experts and gurus out there trying to give financial advice when they're not licensed and accredited and whatever to do so. And some of their stuff is very negative. Some of it's very, like I said, shaming and just makes people feel bad about the situations they're in. And I feel like that's just perpetuating the money is a negative stereotype, and like you have to struggle to find your way to wealth or success or whatever else. And I really wish that we could be more encouraging and uplifting around money as opposed to just like point fingers and say you're bad because you're doing X, Y, and Z. So yeah, I see that a lot, and I try to like tell people to take that with a grain of salt because again, these people are not licensed and able to really give advice for someone's particular situation. They're giving mass financial advice, which is most of the time not a good thing.
Yeah, and I think, when you have tried something that's not worked,
hmm
because one, you haven't had any, I mean, I didn't have any I mean, I didn't have any financial skills when I came out of high school.
hmm
Um, I barely knew how to write a check, all of these things because it's just not something that we were taught. Now I think schools are trying to do better.
Right.
Um, So you've tried all the things that you've known to try and it's not working, and you need to make a shift. And so you get out on the internet and start looking at the most popular people, which of course, I mean, because we're talking money, this is a very,
Mhm.
very sacred area, very difficult to talk about. And I think I know my generation, which we're close enough in age, um, it was always just do it. No gain, no, what is it? No gain,
No pain, no gain.
no pain, no gain. So it
Yeah.
makes sense that we've got people out there just saying, you're wrong, you're stupid, and it's like,
Yeah.
guys, there is a different way to
Yep.
get support
Hmm.
and see a different way than old school.
Yeah. There's very much a generational shift in financial education and, personal finance help and whatever else. We were talking earlier before we started recording about he who must not be named and how he's of an older generation. And so he very much is of the mindset of all debt is bad. And like, as I mentioned, I heard him once say, you shouldn't step foot in a restaurant unless you're working there if you're in debt. And so all of this thing about how you should be suffering and you should be eating ramen noodles at home and not going anywhere and spending money if you're in debt. And that's just not
In the
realistic.
dark with
Yeah,
the air or heat at, as cold as you could stand it, or as
right.
hot as depending on what time of year it is. Yes,
Or
yes.
paying off your house is a higher priority than saving for retirement. Like, I'm sorry, but for almost everyone I've talked to, that's just not the case. And so that's when I tell clients who have read those books or done the classes or whatever else, like, yes, there's very helpful information tucked in there, but it it as a whole can be detrimental to your financial health if you're truly taking all of that advice to heart, knowing again that it's meant for the masses and not for your own individual situation. So, take that information with a grain of salt, but certainly don't let any person on the internet or on TV or whatever else make you feel bad about your own financial situation, because like everyone goes through hard financial times. And I don't even care if they had millions, given to them from their family, or if they've pulled themselves up by their bootstraps and gone out there and done it themselves. Everyone comes across financial hardship in one way or another. And you just have to, figure out how to get out of that, be graceful with yourself, know that every situation is temporary, and kind of move on. So yeah.
So one of the items that I think I'd really like to talk about, if you're up to it, is this no credit card thing. Um, I will say, when I got out of debt, I was terrified of credit cards. I mean, I
Mhm.
was terrified because I felt like I didn't have any control, which is, when I say it out loud, it makes me chuckle because I had full control of opening my wallet and pulling out this rectangular piece
Right.
of plastic. It's not like it has some imaginary force that when I
Right.
walk, I mean, it is all in our control. And I was terrified. I mean, I was like, that's it. No more credit cards. American Express is it, because we got to pay the balance off every month. That's it. We needed it to run our business. So we had to buy a tractor for our farm. And this is a big expense. If anybody's ever looked at how much a tractor is, it's luxury car type money. And so we had the money and we decided, okay, it's time. We cannot nurse this other tractor any longer. And so we go in and we find the tractor, and the guy says, we have 0% financing. And I'm like, well, that's a no brainer. I mean, I can extend out this, and maybe not even have to touch any of our investments, our savings, or, where I was pulling the money from. We couldn't get approved
Hmm.
because we had gone 5 years with no debt paying history.
Yep.
So we had zero credit.
Yep.
Zero, because American Express does not count.
Right.
It's not revolving credit. And I was like, but I have the money in the bank. And they're like, so? So I was like, wow. And started looking into it. It was impacting our insurance rates. It impacted our ability to rent things.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, having the message that no credit cards is the solution is a horrible piece of advice.
Yeah.
Horrible. And the other piece of that is, how do you travel? How do you, I mean, there's just certain things that require a credit card. So what do you think about that?
Well, so I have many thoughts on the whole credit system that I probably am not going to share here today. But the biggest issue that unfortunately we have to play along with is you have to have debt in order to have credit. And while I understand there's good debt and bad debt, and the credit bureaus want to see you have various types of debt, they like seeing a car and a house and student loans and credit cards and all of that stuff. It can be very frustrating because if you don't want to have those things and you don't want to play along with the game, then it really does stunt you, like you said, to be able to do other things in the future that maybe you do need to rely on credit for. You know, people were astounded when I was talking to clients and asking them about their credit scores and all of that, to know that if they wanted to move apartments, they were going to get their credit score checked. That used to not be a thing. Usually you just needed credit for buying or whatever else. But now more and more apartment complexes are not even letting you rent unless they know that you have a good credit score. Yeah. So what I'm gathering from this is you need credit to live in a place, whether you own it or not. And thankfully, there are a lot of responsible ways in which to acquire, pay down debt, you know, utilize your credit score, all of that kind of stuff. But to have no credit cards, I see the appeal, especially for people who can abuse it, who don't trust themselves around credit cards. And, you know, today's day and age, they make it very easy for you to use your credit card. It's on your phone now. It's online. You've saved it with Amazon. You've saved it with everyone. So you can just click a button and your purchase is made. But it is important for everyone to have at least one credit card that they're using responsibly, that's helping them build up that credit. Maybe it's something with some great rewards that you can benefit from, cash back, points, whatever else. There are ways that you can do that and still utilize it and still take advantage without getting into credit card debt, without accruing interest, without all of that stuff. And it will help you at the end of the day, you know, build your credit score and be able to use it.
Yeah. So the message is we need to learn how to use it responsibly.
Mm-hmm.
That's what the message needs to be.
Yep.
And I've gotten in, not to name his name, group before where there was a chat about having no credit cards and shared my experience and was called a liar. And I'm like, okay, y'all are going to just have to figure it out on your own, because your credit score is linked to more than you realize, and it will become linked more and more.
Yeah.
So you mentioned points or rewards or whatever. Girl, I use my credit card for everything. I am going to be honest with you. Everything. And I pay it off every month. I know exactly what I can spend on it, and I pay it off every month. We are about to go on a cruise, and I paid $0 because I've been racking up these points for this big trip that we've been planning on going. And it was the most, it's like I figured it out. I mean, in that moment, I sat there and went, oh my gosh, I figured out credit cards no longer have power over me. And now my credit card company, who is making millions off of others, just paid for my cruise.
Yep.
That's what I want to teach people.
Yep. My husband and I are planning a trip to Vegas later on this year, and we just booked the flights for it using only points from the credit card. So we did not have to pay for our flights there whatsoever, which is so great because that really saves you. Even though Vegas is a fairly inexpensive trip for us coming out of Denver, it still saves you money that you can use for other things.
Money
And
is
so
money.
if it's a cruise, if it's a flight, if it's a whatever, like there's a lot of great ways to use it. Now, I do see a lot of things on social media about like how to open 8 credit cards so you could take advantage of all of these points and rewards and whatever else. And that can get tricky.
Yes.
The more credit cards you have open, the more potential annual fees you're paying and the more potential to rack up debt across all of those credit cards.
Absolutely.
I do tend to see when I'm working with clients with debt that ones that have more credit cards tend to be in more credit card debt than ones that have less.
Yes.
So think about what is important to you in a credit card, whether it's travel rewards, cashback, whatever else, and only have as many credit cards as you absolutely need to do whatever you need to do. Like I have a business credit card that I can use for my business. My husband and I have a personal credit card that we use. So like we know each one has its purpose and each one is used for a various thing. But once you start adding 4, 5, 6 credit cards, like it gets very hard to manage that.
You're absolutely right. You find the credit card that works for your purpose, for what you're trying to accomplish. You need to understand how the rewards work and how you can use them. And yeah, I mean, like for my American Express card, we build up points, and then you can use points to actually pay for whatever it is that you've charged. So there's no restrictions, but I pay an annual fee for that.
Yes.
So these are the things
it has
that you
to
need
be worth it.
Yes.
Yeah. And when you're looking at cards and you see there's an annual fee, you have to make sure that you're getting more in savings than the annual fee. So for example, there's a lot of travel cards out that will cover the cost of you getting TSA PreCheck or global entry, which can be anywhere from like $100 to $180. But if it has an annual fee of $100, there's your, like, you just basically, evened out how much it would be to get TSA PreCheck. Or for instance, like I'm a Hilton person and then my husband is a United person. So we build up the Hilton points to use for hotels. We build up the United points for miles. Then we tie them all together and go on trips and be able to cover the cost of our hotels and our flights. And something like that, if there's like, if you travel a lot and there's particular companies that you like to stay with, like that's a great way to get free nights and like get enough points to cover stuff. So
yeah, when my daughter was playing travel softball, I got the particular hotel that was in every little town that we always visited, and I started using that for my day-to-day card. I never once paid for a hotel room while we were out. And so it's just knowing, it's planning. It's always planning.
Yeah.
What do you want to do with the rewards or the points or whatever they offer? How much is it going to cost you? How do you need to use it? I mean, it's doing the research ahead of time and being very informed. Very informed.
Yes.
Yeah. So, yeah. So stop feeling bad. I mean, I think you're doing the best you can. I think you might need a different perspective because that's exactly how, I mean, feeling bad is not going to get you in action to get the results that you're wanting. That's the bottom line.
Yeah, definitely.
You cannot grit your way through. It's like having a restricted diet. How many of those have you gone on and not succeeded at? I mean, you cannot white knuckle your way through this.
Yeah, exactly. You have to feel like you're in a better place or feeling hopeful about the future, about getting out of whatever situation you are, whether it's debt or trying to find a job or things of that nature. Like all of these things are temporary. And I think that's something that people need to remind themselves of, is that whatever situation you're in is temporary. There will be, other things on the horizon. So definitely try not to mope and feel bad about being in debt or whatever else. I know that's easier said than done. There's a lot of great resources out there that can help you with the mental aspects of dealing with, debt and other financial things that you might be in. Definitely utilize those resources, seek therapy if you are able to, because once you get into a better mindset around money, you are more inclined to take action and really do some of the work to, better your situation.
Or you can hire a money coach that can help you with your mindset.
That's
Just
right.
throw that out there.
One of the resources that I'm talking about.
I'm just going to make sure it's clear.
Yep, exactly.
Well, it's always a pleasure to see you every week. I love our conversations, and hopefully they're helpful to everyone. So,
Definitely. I hope
thank you.
everyone has a great week and start thinking about ways that you can better your money mindset and take charge.
Yeah. Bye, everyone. Till next week.